last game we're going to talk about here from the 1 o'clock games. It was awesome how all the 1 o'clock games were the games that we really wanted to watch this week. Yeah. So it also made for kind of tough viewing sometimes because we're trying to follow 5 different games. But one of them that you actually were able to turn off by, midway through the third quarter was San Francisco and the Jaguars, which played out at least. I didn't see 34-3 coming, but I did see a big bounce back spot for the 49ers. And for everyone who is so worried about Brock Purdy, saying, oh man, maybe he lost it and 3 losses in a row here, 19 for 26, nearly 300 yards and 3 touchdowns. I mean, he was great most of the day. A couple throws here and there that, I thought that first touchdown to Ayuk was a little fortunate, but he had one, that Kittle deep ball, as he's getting crushed on the money. I mean, San Francisco's defense, for all the concerns people have had, completely shut down an offense that has been rolling, a team that has won 5 straight games. San Francisco, to me, bounced back in a big way. I think they're only going to keep getting better.
The bye came at a perfect time because you lose 3 in a row. You're skidding a little bit. But this team is so good on both sides of the ball. In my eyes, the second best team in the NFC. Really, no question. Arguably the first. And when you have that bye week, when you're skidding a little bit, you can rejuvenate. You can be like, all right, we are way too good to be doing this. Let's get back on track. Let's get it done. So Jacksonville caught them at a really, really bad spot.
Yeah.
Like they were going in 2 opposite directions. Jacksonville's content winning 5 in a row. San Fran's coming in hungry. Kind of like a must-win game.
Everyone in their ear, too. Everyone's saying that they stink, and if they lose this game, that it's going to go off the rails.
We've touched on this. Jacksonville, although they do lead the league in takeaways, they're one of the bottom teams in pass defense. So this was a game for Brock Purdy to really get right, and he really did. And I was impressed with the way they thrashed him like that. But to me, this separated what a Super Bowl contender looks like versus a team whose ceiling is probably early in the playoffs.
Like a divisional round game.
Yeah.
I completely agree with that. Ziggy, I know you picked Jacksonville, right?
Yeah, boy, was that a mistake. I sometimes take swings in the game pick. Sometimes it just goes wrong.
I don't think
this is now I'm going to take.
It wasn't.
I was blown up at 30-point game. I did not see that coming.
Yeah, who had this as 34-3? I mean, this is embarrassing. And let me tell you, it's got to be so nice to play for the 49ers. Just like every road game you go to, your fans swarm the stadium.
It's insane.
After the game, insane. George Kittle and Chase Young were just sort of out hyping up the crowd. And the crowd was loud after a 34-3 home loss because of how excited all the 49ers fans were. That's got to be great. And then you look and you can see the 49ers made some smart moves. They didn't panic. Yeah, Christian McCaffrey's touchdown streak gets broken, but I want to talk about the defense for a second. Mm-hmm. The play that stood out to me that really made me think this team was going to be dangerous. It was 10-0, 13 and a half minutes left in the second quarter. The Jaguars had the ball 2nd and 12. And this is the Jaguars are trying to respond, right, and get a good play together. Chase Young off the edge tangles up Trevor Lawrence. Nick Bosa, his former Ohio State teammate, just pops the ball out and falls on it. It was good to see these guys back. I think people have forgotten just how good they were together in college. It's exciting to see what this pass rush is going to be able to do, but it looked completely different. And it's not so the Jaguars' offensive line has been bad or they've given up a million pressures. I think the pass rush is just going to be that good.
Chase Young might be the happiest man in America.
It was,
he might be the happiest man in the NFL right now.
Washington, he's like, what are they doing over in Washington? I have no idea what they're doing.
And he comes over and now joins, an elite defense, elite team contending for a Super Bowl with Nick Bosa on the other side to take away a lot of the pressure. You can't ask for a better spot.
The Niners, they were starting to hear a little bit of yapping about this defense and how they're paid so high and they can't get to the quarterback. They're struggling a bit, and they just quieted all that today. What, four turnovers? I guess the team has won 5 games in a row. Made them look like a high school.
5 sacks. Yeah. And Trevor Lawrence and the Jaguars, though, too. Again, kind of fitting that narrative, at least that Jack and I said, where we felt that they're a good football team and have had really good wins this year. They've beaten some good football teams. But at the end of the day, when it comes down to that big game, I still don't think that they're quite there yet. And they'll probably get there eventually. Trevor Lawrence is a really good quarterback. ETN, it's a good offense. And the defense is also pretty good. But they're just not able. They weren't able to make enough plays today at all. It looked like I kept looking over to the game and seeing Lawrence getting blasted as he's throwing it, like tip passes. It still feels like they're a little bit off. They're going to contend for the AFC South. They might even host a playoff game. But yeah, divisional round feels like the cap for Jacksonville, despite having, a very talented team, great coach in Doug Peterson.
I mean, Chase Young is
Monster.
He's such a huge difference maker. I remember it was either him or Nick Bosa. One of those two guys said that their mentality back at Ohio State was this is a race to the quarterback. Let's see who can get here first. Let's see who can force more turnovers, get more sacks. And this is just so good for each other now, and this D-line as a whole. This is a huge, huge upgrade.
He's also been so quiet for the past, 2 years? Last year, I'm trying to remember, all these players, you get confused sometimes. But Young, I think last year he was injured a lot of the season. And he's been dealing with injuries his whole career. But he came onto the scene, and it was such a public guy, crazy sack numbers. And for the past few years, it's been like, okay, Chase Young is there, and he's really good, but hasn't played a lot. It's been a little quieter. And now to have, you might have forgotten just how good he is.
The monster.
He's one of those guys, if you go down pregame and look, Chase Young is someone who you're like, holy crap, yeah, that's a dude. He's Daniil Hunter. I had that when I went to a Viking game. Chase Young's one of those guys, when you pair him with what they have already on that San Francisco defense, he's going to be amazing.
No, but
for the rest of the season.
It's even possible. He elevates this San Francisco defense. He makes them
completely
better.
Does. Yeah. Completely does. He's going to be a freak.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think you could have known this when you saw the beginning of the game. Every single week, the 49ers walk out of a boombox and have some guys bust a move for their entrance. And this week, they decide to center 3 people who were all coming back in their own way: Debo, Trent Williams, and Chase Young. And you see Chase Young just dapping up Debo Samuel and getting hyped up on the sideline as the 49ers crowd is going wild.
Yeah, running out to a
and it's just these people are screwed. So I don't know if I'm Baker Mayfield and somebody sends, I just beat the Titans 20-6. I'm feeling pretty good. I check my phone, go down and realize oh shoot, I have to go to San Francisco next week and play against this team. I don't know. I might just develop a shoulder injury.
It's like me in the first cross country meet of high school freshman year. I was like, yeah, coach, I feel like my hamstring's a little tight right now. He's like, yeah, you suck. We don't need you anyway. You go ahead, take off. The Jaguars, you have to imagine Trevor Lawrence watching them come out and having the crowd go nuts for the 49ers must be like, oh, here we go again.
It's horrendous. And I saw it in Pittsburgh.
It was in Minnesota too on Monday Night Football. It was a lot of 49ers fans. Crazy. And yeah, you guys travel as well as anyone.
Yeah, we're one of the best home fields out there, and San Fran took it over.